You are welcome into the second hour of Friday's Deise today. It's Maria in for Damien. He'll be back with you on Monday, and lots of things exercising your minds this morning and all the opinions coming in, particularly I think the whole Danny Healy-Rae thing as well. This texter says, while I totally understand that rural Ireland has huge issues with transportation, I just couldn't approve of people, especially elderly people, driving with more alcohol in them than the legal limit. How many have lost loved ones to drink drivers and reckless driving, and their families' lives ruined forever? Just can't support Healy-Rae and his rants, says this texter. And I suppose the thing about it is just because you can't have a drink when you get to the pub doesn't mean you're isolated. You can go out and not drink. There's a radical. I say this as a non-drinker, I am aware of that, but you can go to the pub and you can have a non-alcoholic drink if you have to even feel remotely like you're drinking alcohol. You don't have to be isolated because you can't drink and drive. It seems like a nonsense suggestion to me. But keep your texts coming in, 083 33 975. You can use WhatsApp for that, or you can call 051 846 123. I'm joined in studio now by Mr. Gavin Whelan. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
You're going to tell us all about sport, so great night for the Republic of Ireland last night.
Yeah, we'll do our best anyway. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, great victory for Republic of Ireland last night. I suppose you have to take into account that it was New Zealand's first, competitive game. 3-1 victory for Mick McCarthy's side in the end, and great Waterford interest last night because Derek Williams got the first goal, a brilliant header. The Tremor man, of course, great header. Shawnee Maguire, former Waterford FC striker, of course, learned his trade with the Blues. An absolutely stunning strike from him. And you had Lee O'Connor making his first senior start as well in the Ireland defence last night. Delivered a brilliant cross as well for Callum Robinson, who got the third goal. So brilliant display by him. And a lot of youngsters got their chance last night because it was a friendly chance to go out and kind of express yourself against New Zealand. And Troy Parrott, of course, at a 17-year-old, made his debut. And Robbie Brady played the full 90 minutes. So plenty of positives. You have to take into account, as I said, the opposition wasn't great, but Ireland got the win. It's good for confidence. And the crowd was very small last night. I think people are saving themselves for Monday night. It was bitterly cold last night, to be fair. Friendly against New Zealand, it's not going to entice the public out. But I know there was great Waterford interest as well up there last night as well. I know Jared Welch and Paul Martin as well were honoured as part of the WIT team, who had success earlier on in the season. So there was a good few Villa players, of course, Lee O'Connor's former club, and Shawnee Maguire, good Waterford connections there as well, and indeed Derek Williams. So it was nice to have that Deise representation last night at the Aviva. 3-1, of course, victory, in Ireland now turned their attentions to Monday, of course, that crunch qualifier against Denmark.
Is there some controversy over I'm not going to say outfits, their new strip?
Yeah, well, the kind of dark green, would you call it a dark green? Last night, just looking at the photo. Yeah, I wouldn't be gone on it now. The jersey from last night, I wouldn't be gone on it, to be honest. But I don't know why, because New Zealand were wearing white. I don't know why Ireland couldn't have stuck to their traditional green. But look, that's an argument for another day.
Maybe that's the winter green.
We won't fall out. Maybe it could be. Yeah, exactly. It could have been body warmer inside or something like that, Maria. But it's all roads onto Monday now. Of course, Ireland, if they could get a victory, they would seal their place in Euro 2020, which would be huge. But obviously Denmark, the opposition is going to be up to the pace, and the ante is going to be up Monday night. It'll be interesting to see how many players from last night will feature. There's probably not going to be a whole pile, but it's a huge game for Mick McCarthy's side, and hopefully the fans can come out and get behind the team on Monday. It will be huge. It will be huge to qualify for Euro 2020. So looking forward to that.
Coming up.
Absolutely. Busy weekend on the GA front as usual. The Munster Junior Club Championships take centre stage this weekend. Two Waterford clubs setting out in their journeys tomorrow. St Mary's of Tornina, of course, they won the junior hurling title, bridging a 30-year gap, beating Ballydurn in the county final. They welcome Castletown Ballygran from Limerick to Fairfield tomorrow at 1:30. They didn't win the Limerick championship. They were beaten by Kilmallock, but the fact it is their second team, they can't represent Limerick, so that's why Ballygran, Castletown are coming down tomorrow. Of course, Mary's under the stewardship of former Waterford hurling all-star Dan Shanahan. He's going to feature on Lorna Porca this evening. I'm filling in for Tomas tonight, so Dan is really looking forward to that. He has them really playing a great brand of hurling. They've worked hard all season. Good win in the Western final over Abbeyside and beat Ballydurn, a tough tense battle in the county final, so they're looking forward to that. And you'd imagine playing in Fairfield as well is an advantage, so get along and show the lads some support tomorrow. Also Ballyduff Lower boss John Carey, he'll feature on this evening's show as well. They're on the road early tomorrow to Limerick. They play in Bruff at 1:30 tomorrow. They take on Croom in the Munster quarter final. Great win over Shamrocks in the junior football final a couple of weeks ago. They're trying desperately hard the last couple of years to win it. Lost out in 2016 and 2017. They got over the line, so they're going to go out and give it everything hopefully tomorrow in the Munster Club Championship. We'll also hear from Kevin Barry, the Waterford Camogie minor manager there in the Munster A Shield final, taking on Clare on a Sunday afternoon. That's at 12:30 in Cappamore. So hopefully Waterford can end the season there. I know it's been a long drawn out season. There was a bit of fixture congestion there with a disagreement between Cork and Limerick over his fixture. Something, as Kevin Barry referred to as politics in the GAA. You get politics nearly in everything now, Maria. But
Don't you?
Absolutely, always thrown in there. Best luck as well to Waterford boxer Keelan Cassidy of the Saviours Crystal Club. He's in action tonight at the National Stadium, taking on Dublin number 1 John Joe Nevin in the Elite Irish Championship. So he's a fantastic ambassador. I know he was lining out for his club, St Saviours, in the Munster Championship last weekend. He's back in the ring this weekend, so he really is an all-rounder, Keelan. So we wish him the very best of luck. Matt Keane is holding the on the ball fort tomorrow and Monday for myself, taking a bit of a well-earned breather, Maria. So join Matt.
He's an
actually, I'm sure you can start debating out in the office now. You can debate over the weekend action or whatever, but he's going to be chatting to Alfie Hale, of course, the Waterford soccer legend, and John Anderson tomorrow ahead of Monday's big game. And he'll also have Zara Breslin, who won that brilliant boxing title last weekend of Tramore. Great victory there, fantastic ambassador for the sport. So she's going to be in studio with her coach Ray Kelly as well, and Mark Phillips will be along to talk all things racing. So that's pretty much it. It's not an overly hectic weekend, but it's a busy weekend as well, and we'll keep you updated. And just to say as well, I know Jeff is on the way following this programme, to say a big well done to Donegal and the gang in the local. They're 20 years old. I know I can't say I know it well now, but I've been there an odd time. But they're great ambassadors for the town there. I know it's a great buzz around O'Garvan around Christmas, so well done to the lads on celebrating 20 years later on as well. So yeah, we might see you later, lads.
Gavin, thanks a million. That's
thanks,
our
pleasure.
Gavin Whelan, of course, cluing you in, and we'll do so all over the weekend, either him or his representative on Earth,
Matt will be covered, exactly. He'll be in the boots for the weekend.
He'll be
hope he shows up now, Maria.
He will. All the sporting events over the weekend. Now I have on the line Fianna Fáil Deputy Mary Butler. Mary, good morning.
Good morning, Maria.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's nice and bright out here.
Isn't it lovely after yesterday was so miserable? Now, you just wanted to have your say on the North Quay situation and the train station situation from yesterday.
Yeah, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I listened to my colleague Deputy Cullinan this morning, and I believe Minister Halligan was on yesterday as well. I didn't get to hear him. And I just wanted to reiterate that the comments that both my colleagues made are absolutely true. There were 4 people at the meeting yesterday. There were no officials present, which normally when we meet as Oireachtas members for health meetings, there could be up to a dozen officials in the room. In this instance, there was 4 people present at the meeting. There was Minister Owen Murphy, and there was myself, David Cullinan, and John Halligan. And it was a short and it was a very efficient meeting, and we discussed 2 different items. We discussed the current deficit that the Council are facing in relation to the budget facing next year for the 3.3 million in relation to the rate of re-evaluation. And then we moved on to discuss the North Quays. Now, I'd just like to put on the record that the Oireachtas members in Waterford had been looking for a meeting with Minister Owen Murphy for the past month to try and, put a final push on the funding for the North Quays. And yesterday the meeting was held and to discuss two different issues. Now, as the listeners will be aware, on the 3rd of this month, the Oireachtas members also met with the Department of Transport, and we met with the Assistant Secretary, who was Graham Doyle, a Waterford man. And whereas he told us he was overall very positively disposed to the department helping out in relation to the North Quays, they wouldn't be in a position to financially support the moving of the train station. And when we left that meeting, we were all, I suppose, a little bit deflated and disillusioned. Now, he had said quite clearly, and I take notes at all these meetings, and I was just looking back at them before we came on, that he had the potential to be helpful, that, it would be a cross-government approach, and that his department would certainly be able to help, but at the time he felt that they wouldn't be able to be in a position in relation to the train station. Now, we all feel that the train station was the missing piece of the jigsaw, because in order to have this integrated transport hub, obviously you need all the transportation in Waterford coming into the same area. So when we
I think it's something that needs to be done regardless of the North Quays. It's a standalone thing.
Yes, because even from a health and safety perspective, it's certainly not ideal. And in fairness, they have done a great job with the last few years with the flowers during the summer.
Beautiful.
And making it look attractive. But, anybody trying to exit the train station and get back across the bridge is very, very difficult. So from a health and safety point of view, I'm sure it's something that would have to be looked at going forward. But in relation then, so we moved on to discuss, and it was actually the Minister gave us the figure of 39 million, because I specifically asked the question myself. Minister, I said the initial indications were that to move the train station it would cost 33 million. I said when we met with Graham Doyle 2 weeks ago we were told 50 million. And the Minister said the relocation of the train station, and I'm quoting now, the relocation of the train station is 39 million, and that will be covered by the URDF funding, which was fantastic news to us. It was absolutely
understandably
fantastic. And, and the Minister then also mentioned that, that we're looking at an investment of 100 million for Waterford. And actually his parting words were, and I hope you will all be around, he said, to welcome it when it happens. So I just want to be very, very fair to my other two colleagues and to myself, who we were the only four that attended the meeting. I don't believe that it was an official announcement yesterday, certainly not, but it was a clear statement of intent. And I believe that's the way we should look at it.
So there's nothing in writing as yet?
Absolutely nothing in writing, absolutely nothing in relation to when the finances will come, whether it will be next year, how it will be, how many tranches it will arrive in, absolutely not. But there was a clear statement of intent yesterday. And he did state that the Minister was very, very sorry, that the Taoiseach was very, very supportive of it. And I have to say, Marie, in fairness to everyone involved, Waterford City and County Council and Michael Welsh had the vision at a very early stage to push this forward. Working with the likes of Rob Cass and the Allocare Group and Waterford City and County Councillors and all the businesses and the Chamber of Commerce, and then it's our job as Oireachtas members representing Waterford City and County to step up to the plate with the ministers and try and get it over the line. And that's exactly what we were trying to do yesterday. So in fairness to the three Oireachtas members that were present at the meeting yesterday, there was a clear intent, in my opinion, and I just want to reiterate both what David Cullinane and John Halligan said. There was certainly a clear intent given, and I just think that we should look at that positively. Is it there yet? It's not, but at the same time the intent was very, very clear.
And let's face it, 39 million is a lot of money, and if they're really going to announce that, they would have made sure that their representatives were present and there was photo ops and, everybody got their faces in front of a camera. I mean, that's just the way politics works these days.
It is, and the political reality, that you have just pointed out what the political reality is. But all Waterford Oireachtas members were invited to attend that meeting yesterday. We were at the meeting, and the Minister signalled, in my opinion, and I can only give you my opinion, as I said, when I go to a meeting, I'm the one person that always jots down the notes. It's a thing I've always done all my life. And I just believe there was a clear statement of intent, which is positive news for Waterford. And I think that's the way we should be viewing it. Was there any timelines? Was there any time frame? No, there wasn't.
Was there any handshakes even?
Absolutely not. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. But it was a very good, informative meeting. The Minister was very, very well briefed, very up to speed on both the issue in relation to the council and in relation to the North Quays. Normally when we go into a meeting, one of us would lead off and we'd kind of set the scene. There was no need for anything like that yesterday. The Minister, in fairness to him, was completely up to speed on this. And at no time during the meeting, when we discussed the North Quays, were we told that this was to be kept within the confines of the room. That's not true. And I just want to be fair to the three of us that did attend the meeting yesterday. And we were delighted when we heard the news that there was a clear intent, a statement of intent yesterday.
And the point that I made to David was, normally we'd say maybe the Fine Gael representative would come out and go, for sure this is happening, and it would be the opposition people who would be saying, well, hang on now, we've nothing in writing. And there was a very positive response to that meeting from all of you who were present.
Yes, absolutely. And it was very... And look, you're after hitting the nail on the head, because, say, for example, today, the sports capital grants have been announced. Now, I haven't seen sight of who in Waterford have received yet. So who's announcing these? Obviously, Minister Halligan announced it, and the Waterford Oireachtas members will get that opportunity before anyone who's in opposition. And that's just the way it works. That's the way it works. And normally, obviously, when the Minister will be announcing this, there will be hopefully a very good launch in Waterford, and we'll all get the opportunity to attend. But I suppose, just to reiterate the point, what I took from the meeting yesterday, there was a clear statement of intent. The cost of relocation to the train station was 39 million, and we were categorically told that it would be funded from the URDF fund.
Okay. Okay, watch this space. Mary, thanks a lot for talking to me.
Thanks very much, Maria. Bye-bye.
See you, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Fianna Fáil Deputy Mary Butler there. 083 3333 975 is how you get in touch, or 0518 46 123. That's I've more coming up for you after the break, so please keep it right here. You are welcome back to the programme. This texter says people paying HAP at €300 per month are also paying €95 to €100 every week to Limerick City Council. Why are people paying this weekly to them? I suppose that's where it's administered from, and that's just the way it goes. This texter says every week it takes me 2 hours and 20 minutes to travel by bus from Waterford to Cork, and it takes me 10 minutes less to travel by train all the way to Dublin. Why is there no train to Cork? I suppose how would they get it there? And maybe if it changes, the location changes, it might be easier. I don't know. I got my teeth fixed 2 years ago. The bill was $2,800. Jesus, that's high. Which I pay. It's not. You know, I've heard people pay much more to get their teeth done. Which I paid, says the texter. Can I still claim something back? Haven't a clue. I'm pretty sure you can, because I think you can go back 4 years. I think that's what Brendan said, but go and try. I think it's myaccount.ie on revenue. Go and try. It's not like they're going to think you're trying to, pull a fast one on them. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, but you'll have lost absolutely nothing by trying. Hi Marie, is it down to forestry that the council made a complete mess of the quay? No, it's not. It's a few nice trees. People are giving out. People cutting down trees, and then people plant trees and people are still giving out. They can't do right for doing wrong. What if you were living 10 miles from a shop or pub? You would change your mind. People living in cities have no idea what it's like. I don't know, I presume you're referring to Danny Healy-Rae. But the point I made was, just because you can't drink when you get to your location doesn't mean you can't go out. You can go to the pub, you can socialise, you can get somebody to pick you up. It's not, you're not stuck in your house because you can't have an alcoholic drink when you get to your location. That's why it's a stupid idea. Saying that you need a permit to be allowed to have a few pints so you can drive home on dark country roads is absolute nonsense. I mean, they've come up with some doozies in their day, but this really takes the biscuit. Now, let's talk about something else, because I'm joined in studio now by Deise Whitmore, who's a social media expert with the Social Media Department. That's the name of your company. And I was going, social media department of what? And the reason that we're talking here today is we've seen what's her name? Lorraine Clifford-Lee, getting into trouble over tweets. She's not the only one that this has happened to. And it's a kind of a modern phenomenon that it's like if every sentence that I ever uttered was able to be recalled by somebody and thrown back in my face with proof. That's what we're talking about these days for public figures in particular, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. It is very difficult for people, if they're going into these kind of, becoming a public representative and things like that. I know people might think that it's a bit unfair to go back through so many, years of social media and people, when they put stuff out when they're teenagers and things like that, they're not really thinking. But I have to say, in this particular instance, she was an adult when she put these tweets out. She was a solicitor as well. So, for anybody who's actually deciding to go into politics, I would have thought the first thing that you would do before you even announce that you're going for election is to actually delete everything and to hide everything. So I'm quite surprised, to be honest with you, that she left the private account that she was using. No, it's her Twitter account. So it was all public. So I just thought it's quite surprising that she left so many tweets there, So what, you think we should all go in and go through all our tweets and delete everything? Because I'd be sometimes you just say things and you don't mean any harm. That's why I'm a prolific user of emojis when I get a chance, just so I can have the winky face, and the tongue sticking out and everything, so people know I'm not serious here. I know. Look at it. The problem with social media is that when you put stuff out, you have to remember that it is there forever. So if you're not comfortable walking around the town, let's say, for example, wearing a T-shirt with the tweet that you've just put out, don't put it out. Or it's the same with the pictures as well. Now, I know that, the teenagers, when they're kind of coming up and they're being raised in this kind of digital age as well, that this is all that they know. So they talk about absolutely everything. I think actually the next generation of teenagers that are coming up, they're not doing that. It's very private. It's a lot more private than what we were. They're not the oversharers that we were, But I just think that if you make the decision to go into the public eye and go into politics, that
you should be looking back at your own online presence and doing an audit. I mean, even if you go for a job, one of the first things that people would, advise is to do a social media audit on your own online presence. And it's very easy to do that because we do make mistakes and we do put stuff out that we're not, really proud of sometimes.
You have to scroll through everything you've ever posted.
You can. There are ways of actually doing it. So, for example, on Facebook, if you are, if you've got a kind of a private Facebook account and the people that you're connected with are friends and family, you can make sure that all the posts, go into your privacy settings, make sure that everything is there set to private. All past posts are set to private as well. So just in case by accident you might have put something out publicly. So you can change that in your privacy settings. Yeah. You can do Google search for yourself. Search your own name, see what pictures are there, see what videos are up there. Yeah, you can actually, and you can request things to be taken down. You can send, requests to Google.
That's a change, isn't it? Because it wasn't that something. If you did something in your past, it was there forever. But that's changed.
You can actually send a request to Google. The only thing is that it's within Europe. So I think that depending on the reach of the particular tweet or picture or whatever it is, I think that you can take it down inside Europe, but outside it might still actually be available. And then with Twitter, you can do advanced searches, for example. So let's say if there was a time in your life and you think maybe I might have put something out at that particular time using certain words or whatever, you can actually do an advanced search on your own account and look for specific tweets that have certain words or phrases or something like that, and you can delete them. Or you could just, what I would advise somebody to do going into politics is to delete everything, delete your account, and start again, start fresh. It's just too open because
that's what I don't like about it. It's kind of, it's the meanness of unearthing something because somebody, like she's running an election, I think, as far as I know. But it's that meanness that is unearthing something that happened years ago that's been there for years that you didn't feel it your business to go looking for. But now all of a sudden you have a reason to try to bring somebody down, or a reason like the guy who was going to host the Oscars.
We were just chatting about that actually. Yeah,
to sort of bring someone down, and that's your motivation. I think that's nasty.
It is, but unfortunately, it's there, and it's very difficult to get away from that. And there is a kind of an attitude that if you go into the public eye like that, and you're going into politics or becoming, an actor or a presenter or something like that, that you are open to scrutiny by the public because you are there for their entertainment as such, and that they almost feel like that they have a right then to go back and see what kind of person that you are. On the other side of things, it does show that this woman is human, and and maybe she's flawed like the rest of us. So that's a kind of an element that we need to keep in mind as well, that these people, that they're not perfect.
And that's because I think an awful lot of with social media, people forget that there is a person on the other end of every account.
Oh, definitely.
Much.
Yes, it's very easy to forget that. In just text and cyberbullying, it's massive. It's very easy to just say something via text.
Why are keyboard warriors so brave? Like they damn well if they came across you in the street, they would never have the balls to say what they were quite willing to type.
Look at it. It's because they're not seeing that emotional reaction on your face by sending that particular comment or tweet or text, and that's the reason. It's a lot easier. So if I was sitting across from somebody and I said something nasty to them, then you're going to get that reaction from the other person. You're going to see the reaction in their face, and that's what makes it a little bit more difficult. But obviously, when that isn't there, when you're online, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. Yeah.
And in terms of, you said like ordinary people, like who are applying for jobs and stuff, like they're kind of taking all the fun out of the whole point of social media. Like really, if my employer is going to look at my Facebook page, they're not going to hire me.
Yeah, well,
but like they don't know me, so they don't know the context in which, or what kind of a person I am. I think it's very unfair to go, well, I'm not hiring her.
Yeah, do you know what? Look, it is unfair. Okay, it is, but unfortunately, It does happen. It does happen, yeah. So employers will look up prospective employees. They'll have a look. Now, their LinkedIn page, that's fine, because that is basically your online CV, yeah. But they will have a look.
I would restrict them to that. I'd be saying that's the only thing you can look at.
You can do that, yeah. It is illegal for an employer to request Facebook logins. It's against GDPR to force an employer or employee to become friends with you on Facebook, even, right? You can block them as well. But again, if you are going for a job and you suspect that your potential, prospective employer might actually look at your social media presence, then go in, have a look at yourself, see what's available.
Before we have the interview. Now, you might see this thing that I posted, but
and just hide everything, because look, you don't want to give them any ammunition either. It is illegal for an employer to decide to not hire somebody because they've seen something on social media. But again, it's coming back to that thing. Everybody's human, so it does happen. It does
Slightly
happen.
Off topic, Denise, but seeing this is your area of expertise, do you think that we'll look back in years to come and wonder why we ever gave smartphones to children?
Oh, yeah. I think it's happening now. Look at the house that I'm in at the moment. It's there'd be quite a lot of technology, smartphones, things like that. But my son wasn't allowed a mobile phone until he was a teenager. It's just you have to just make that decision.
People in the know never give them to their kids.
But I see it quite a lot. And I see kids looking at magazines, for example, let's say in a doctor's waiting area, things like that, and they're actually scrolling the magazine.
No way.
Yes, yeah. They're looking at the pictures and they're wondering why they can't,
that's actually
swipe
tragic.
the picture. It's depressing. It's so sad. Yeah.
That is awful.
I was actually chatting to a colleague of mine and he was on a train and he was reading a newspaper and he automatically went to scroll up with his hand on the newspaper. So yeah, it's a bit depressing. But I do think that, I think parents really do need to look at how much technology that they're actually allowing their kids access to. I think that some schools, I think was actually in France that they brought in a rule that there was no smartphones allowed in schools up to a certain age. I think we need to have a look at that as well because there is quite a lot of pressure on parents, when their kids' friends have quite all these
I think they've
technology.
done that in the school here. It might be in Wicklow maybe if memory serves, but anyone can correct me if they want to. But I think they've done that here and they found the difference in the kids was amazing.
Yes, yeah. Or just have some screen downtime as well in the evenings. I would definitely be an advocate for that. Or even a digital detox. Some weekends I just make sure that everything is turned off for the whole weekend to have a digital detox.
So back to the adults. The adults. If you're going into politics, start again.
Yes.
That's probably the best thing. And you can go through and make sure that.
You can, yes.
You're not giving a false opinion of yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Denise, thanks very much.
No problem, thanks very much.
That's Denise Whitmore there, a social media expert with the social media department. Let's have your thoughts on that on 083 3333 975. You can call 051 846 123. Back with more for you after these. You are welcome back to the programme. Now, all this week you've been hearing from students who've joined the CAMMAST team at WIT. They've been doing that for the past 2 weeks. It's Science Week, and I have some more students in studio with me. I have Lily Foy of Newtown School. Hello, Lily. I have Sean Ryan even of De La Salle, and I have Aveen Kelly of the Ursuline. Thanks very much for coming in, the three of you. How have you found the week, Lily?
It's been really great, yeah. I really enjoyed giving the workshop to primary school kids, and it was nice explaining science to them and stuff like that.
And have you learned a lot yourself about all this climate change thing? Have you have a new insight into it?
Yeah. I did a lot of research about climate change before anyway, but I learned even more and it was nice explaining it to kids as well.
Aveen, how did you get on?
It was definitely a fantastic experience. And as you know, for this Science Week this year, the emphasis was definitely on climate change, the environment. So it's fantastic to give kids a bit more of an insight into climate change and especially the things that they can do to help prevent it and help reduce their carbon footprints. And it was just lovely to see the kids get involved and get a better interest in science.
Did it make you all want to be teachers?
Yeah.
Sean, how did you get on?
It was really enjoyable getting to kind of, I haven't looked into climate change really that much until then. But learning about it, making a workshop out of it, and then being able to present it to people and telling them kind of about it. It's a very interesting topic, and it's a really good experience for us as well. Definitely would think about being a teacher or something as well because of it. And
when you hear all this talk about the environment, and I'm sure you all know Greta Thunberg, do you feel angry? Like she's angry at the way the world is being treated, and that people aren't doing enough the powers that be aren't doing enough to sort things out. Do you share that sort of anger and concern?
Yeah, definitely, especially since we've known about climate change for so long, and it's kind of only now that there's so much attention to it, and there's still a lot more to be done. And yeah, I feel like a lot more can still be done.
Maybe.
Well, I think as young people, it's a lot easier to get angry because we can't vote, we can't make decisions, we can't be politicians who are making decisions regarding carbon tax and efforts to fight climate change. But I think it's more important, aside from anger, to realise that in a few years' time we will be the ones that the young people of Ireland will be the ones making these decisions. So I think informing people and staying aware of the situation and of the solutions that are possible is more important than anger in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that, Sean, has it given you some sort of maybe an interest in politics? Because nothing changes in the world, unfortunately, unless there's politics involved. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was your age, I wasn't remotely interested in politics. Politics was boring. Politics was for old people. And I think that's changing now, because I'm very old. But has it given you some sort of a new thing? But the only way to affect change is to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, I probably wouldn't have been that interested into it. But I think the only way really we could do anything is by sitting down and talking about it, thinking of ideas around it, and trying to get involved in some way.
Did you come up with any ideas? If you were in charge now, if the three of you were in charge of the country, what would you have us all do? Any suggestions? Anyone?
Well, I suppose to have a greater emphasis on renewable energy is obviously a big one. And I know there are a lot of wind turbines in the Irish Sea at the moment that have been put in the past few years. Things like that are fantastic. Those real big picture solutions.
And do you go, when you're at home now, do you go, no, we have to put that to the recycling? Are you a little bit more in control of how you live in the world yourselves?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And you enjoyed it?
Definitely, yeah.
And you enjoyed the teaching part? And
yeah.
Do you think that there's a danger of maybe scaring kids, though, of thinking that, I've heard kids say that the world's going to end in 12 years and everything. They're just going to get really anxious about the whole thing. Did you have to be careful about that?
Yeah, I think that, the way we presented it, it's we're telling them that there is a slight danger, but at the same time, there's a little bit of fun games, so they could enjoy it and realise that we need to try and change something at least. I suppose in a good way.
Excellent. Well, well done for getting involved, and I'm glad that you all enjoyed it and giving you a new insight and maybe careers in the future. You never know. You've been listening to Lily Foy of Newtown School, Sean Ryan of De La Salle, and Avian Kelly of the Ursuline, and they are some of the transition year students of the CAM-MAST team at WIT for Science Week. Thanks very much. Back after these. You are welcome back to the programme. This texter says, "Good morning, Maria. Just to bring to notice about slopping out in prisons. Yes, was that award made to your man? This is part of nurses, carers' work on a 24-hour basis. Just a joke to give a prisoner a prize for slopping out for himself. This is a prisoner, not a hotel guest," says Teresa. But I suppose when things are in contravention of a rule that's already there and laws that are already there, that's the difference. I think the problem here was that he was in a shared cell, and it's just not accepted, whether it should or shouldn't be. Personally, if you're one of those bowsies who calls on legal aid when you're minted, I'd be having those people slop out, no bother whatsoever. But if something is in contravention of an existing law, then that's how that case ended up coming to court. Hi Maria, I totally agree in a media detox. I do it at least once a week and just do things without my phone attached to me. It's very good for people living with mental health. I call it me time. Do things you enjoy and stay away from phones and media, etc. It helps people to connect with themselves and look after their mental health. That's from Tony from the Candles in the Dark organisation. And Ed says, "Hi, did I hear right? If a person is intending to enter politics, that they should hide their past. Where would you draw the line?" Nobody said they should hide their past. They should hide their stupid tweets that they made when they wasn't even thinking about going into politics. If you can stand over every sentence you ever uttered without, something that you said in anger or having a bit of crack or something, then that's fine. But some people just said something, and I'm not talking about Lorraine Clifford at the moment, but if somebody said something just off the cuff years ago and it comes back to haunt you, if you're in the public eye, I don't think that is right or fair. Maureen Fitzgerald, good morning.
Good morning, Maria.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Now, you used to run the Savoy Theatre with your husband, Richard.
That's
God
right.
rest him.
Yes.
And you must have great memories of that.
Well, do you know something? Thinking about this in the last little while and going back over my notes and things like that it's given me such pleasure. It was such a lovely, lovely few years, and we enjoyed it so much. It was really wonderful. And it was wonderful for Waterford. It was great entertainment. And, back in about 1978 or so, Eli Kaduri, he was actually an Arab, but he lived in Tramore, and he was a good friend, and he loved Waterford. And he asked us if we would be interested in running and being managing directors of what was the Savoy Cinema, because he wanted to convert it into theatre. It had closed down as a cinema. And I remember coming back in the early 50s, coming to Waterford, having tea upstairs in the lovely restaurant that was overhead, and going to see The Quiet Man. And coming out of The Quiet Man, there was a queue going in for a midnight showing, which was very exciting at that time. But lovely memories, wonderful memories.
And you have memories of Gay Byrne?
Oh yes, Gay Byrne came to Waterford, and he had never done Waterford, as he put it. And he came as Mr. Late Late Show to the Savoy Theatre in June in 1980. And he brought a show with him. He did a summer show at that time. And that was terrific. It was lovely to come. And it was a wonderful show. Packed the house, as all our shows did. They packed the house to capacity every time. And he was so thrilled to do Waterford, as he put it, that he threw a big party in the Tower Hotel that night. And we were invited, and our staff and all the cast, and it was a great night. It was wonderful, yes. And the audience was so delighted with him because he was big at that time. The Late Late Show was very important, as it stayed that way. But yes, we had some super shows, and we had our own Val Doonican. And we had, from the BBC, we had Paul Golden, we had the Alexander Brothers, we had all the different people of the time, at the time, Dick Emery, and we had Andy Stewart, and of course the Irish ones then, all the big noises at the time were Horselips, and we had the Furies. The Furies came and they raised a fund for the lifeboat here through the Round Table. We did a lot of charity shows. We did Shakespeare for the school leavers, and of course we had bingo twice a week. And Michael,
was it glamorous, Maureen?
It was fantastic, and it was such a lovely atmosphere because people always loved the cinema previously, and now they loved the theatre. And there
Stunning
was this
building.
huge queue every night when anything was on, to the shop for sweets and ice cream and all that kind of thing, and cigarettes at that time. And the atmosphere was fabulous. It was really lovely. My daughter used to take part in the shop when she had time free from school, of course, on holidays. And everything went so easy and so nice. We had a lovely staff, and the cleaners, of course. And of course, Ellie had wonderful plans for that place. He intended to make it really something super, and he had plenty of money, and he could do it. And he had already at that stage put in new seating and all this, and built on dressing rooms and all the things that went with the theatre. And then, unfortunately, it had to come to an end because, strangely enough, a peculiar thing really, at that time, around about 1980 or so, there was a lot of Arabs coming into Ireland, and they were buying up a lot of property and a lot of ground and land. And the government, quite rightly, were getting nervous, and they were worried about it. And so they made some kind of a law at the time to prevent any large amounts of money coming in with the Arabs.
Okay.
So that affected Ellie. And of course his finances were cut right down.
Oh.
And he was so upset about it because he and his brother, now John, the two of them were so keen on the whole project. And he said, I can't do this. He said, this is it. We have to finish. And it was so sad for our staff and for ourselves and for him. And that was it. But it was a wonderful few years. And we packed the houses to capacity every time we had a show.
Some nice texts coming in. Carmen called to say she loved the Savoy. She remembers Eileen the Queen, and the Savoy was her palace. Frank Devlin looking amazing in the top and tails, greeting everyone. Going to the Savoy was a tonic, and Carmen has many amazing memories of it. And another caller who's 73 used to go to the Savoy, to the matinees, great crack down there. Cost 4 pence to go. They used to call it the flea pit. Sad to see it go. That was when it was a cinema. Did you ever act, Maureen? Excuse me if everybody else knows this and I don't. So
I
apologies.
did actually sing on the stage on one occasion. Yes, it was a kind of an old time music night or something or other.
Did you ever creep out on stage when it was empty and just go, spotlight on me?
Yes.
No?
Well, I had been doing a bit of acting in Dungarvan years previous to that, but I never did anything actually, particularly in the way of acting. But I'll tell you something, we had one occasion, and whoever was coming, whatever the show was, they required a light blue stage for lighting. And we couldn't get a painter to come and paint the stage. And we tried everywhere to get a painter, couldn't get anybody. And at the last minute, so the night before they came, the two of us, Richard and I, were down on our knees painting the stage pale blue. It was a very large stage.
Lovely memories. That's Maureen Fitzgerald there, who ran the
wonderful.
Old Savoy Theatre with her late husband, Richard, bringing the show to a close. You have been listening to Deise Today. The programme is produced by Julie Smith. Damien will be back with you on Monday. I'm back with you in the morning for the Saturday Cafe, and Jeff's up next to take you through some great tunes for the afternoon. Thanks for your company and all your texts and comments. Really do appreciate every single one of them. And you enjoy the rest. Enjoy your weekend, sure. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.